In this video, I'm going to do my final review of Guardian 镇魂 and talk about the book and drama difference. Hi, you're watching Avenue X, where junkie and good storytelling shares their thoughts, knowledge, and occasional weird ideas on stories and how they're told. This video is going to be broken into two parts. The first part, I'm going to talk about my final review and some of the interesting information I've gathered about the drama. And then the second part is going to be talking about extensively the difference between the original book and the drama. I will have the time code in my description so that you can jump to the parts that you want to listen to and just ignore the things that you're not interested in. So let me first do a summary of my opinion about Guardian 镇魂, the drama. This drama finished airing on July the 25th in China, and I'm not going to spoil the ending for you, but I mean, I'm pretty sure if you actually watch this drama, you already know what is the ending. And as expected, the scriptwriter is really looking for trouble because, like, I feel like people are trying to find out who they are and just send bombs to them. We kind of all expected the drama is not going to sort of having the best written ending, and certainly it is pretty much a disaster. But we're not watching it for the script or the story, we're watching it for the acting, for the characters, for the two main actors, and I think their acting for the last two episodes really do hold up, even though the plot and the logic is just like a fiasco. But the acting saved everything. I think that's my sort of genuine reaction. This is a very phenomenal drama because it has broken many records in terms of website kind of drama airing statistics, and Youku is really happy with the fact that they had this drama and they had it for July and they kind of captured so many people's attention. I did some digging for the extra information about this drama. There's an interesting fact that you may not know is at the initial casting stage, Bai Yu was decided as Zhao Yunlan, but then Zhu Yilong's role, Shen was actually a different actor who didn't go through with it. So Zhu Yilong came to kind of the rescue. He's like helicoptered in the show, and who knows? Who knows? It's his time. It's his time. Now he's like one of the most sought after, I think, right now within China's dramaland actor because of his role as Shen Wei. Also, this drama actually initially had a huge budget. I think rumored to equal to like Nivarne Fire. And it was initially invested by Le TV, which unfortunately the company went into bankruptcy like halfway. So the drama initially had a lot of money invested in, so they actually managed to do this very impressive OST that I've talked about in my previous review video, which definitely is very money heavy, and it hired some of the best music producers for Chinese dramas, and it had like huge sort of orchestra recording, all that. So lots of money probably went into the pre-production, which is the music. So you can kind of see it could have been a really epic drama, but then the money fell through like halfway through filming, so resulting in completely failing CGIs that you see in the end product. And then obviously the censorship issue. But I think this drama is extremely fortunate that they found those two actors who are both familiar with the original material. So I feel like they know their characters really well, even though the plot and the script has changed drastically from the original story. They're staying very authentic to the original story's character. And while they're acting, there's a very good chemistry and interaction going on between them, so they can stay in their characters and improvise a lot of their interactions. Some of the epic, most interesting, funniest scenes in this drama are actually the two actors' improvisation, which just goes to show this is the most fortunate thing that has happened to 镇魂 is they found those two actors. I also feel, judging from the drama, I feel like the crew, including probably a hairstylist, makeup artist, costume designer, even cameraman, I have the feeling that a lot of the people on the crew actually know about the original novel and probably like it very much, resulting in lots of tiny hints and stuff that gets dropped in the drama you may not see in sort of initial viewing, but if you dig, you will find, oh, you have so many hints that is really hinting at the original material that you will not notice if you don't know about the original story, but if you do, you kind of get it and you're like, wow, I definitely get it. I know that the creative team is trying their best to be extremely secretive about what are the messages that they're sending out. And because this drama is so popular sort of in the online community, so many people have done like microscopic analysis video about this drama, which is just eye-opening. I didn't notice so many details, and when I watched those videos, I was like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. So in the description of this video, I will link a list of videos that I found absolutely fantastic to watch. They're all on China's Bilibili website, and so you don't need an account to watch those videos, and you don't really necessarily need to know Chinese to understand the point people are making. So do go and check out those fantastic fan videos. I was super impressed by them. And if you have seen my previous video, my love letter to Zhenhun, you probably know sort of my stand on this drama. I want to say I find this drama so captivating because it is a very interesting product of its time. It is made at this particular time in sort of modern Chinese entertainment history, where Dramaland has two very powerful hands that are really messing up the creative process. One is obviously censorship, where there are just too many things that are not allowed to be shown, to be talked about, to be discussed about, including the BL nature of the original material, including gods and ghosts and supernatural and superstition and whatever you want to call that. And so it's a product of that restriction. And then on the other side, there's this huge power player, which is Capital, that happened, I think, in the recent sort of 5 years in Chinese Dramaland, where it started to become something that Capital sought after as any other commercial product, as, I don't know, as soybeans and as stock. Capital, money, just has too much power in the whole game, manipulating what gets to be made, what actors gets to be picked for whatever role, and it kind of saturated the whole industry, making it really difficult for really inventive, creative work to come out, because everything is treated as commodity. And this is a very recent phenomenon. So right now, China's drama market is really being very tightly controlled by these two very strong hands. So Zhenhun's creation and also its success is almost a perfect case study. I think in the years to come, if anyone wants to do, I don't know, PhD, if there is ever a PhD of entertainment business or Dramaland or whatever, they would look at this drama as one of the most interesting case studies in terms of all the things that has happened to it, and despite all the problems, why it became so successful. And I feel very fortunate that I actually discovered this drama while it's still ongoing, that I kind of joined the whole group of fans and people who really love to talk about this drama. This whole thing itself is such an interesting phenomenon that I don't see anything that's gonna show up later this year that could compare to Zhenhun's special place in Chinese drama land in 2018. So that sums up my review for Zhenhun Guardian. And if you are a fan of this drama, please don't forget to check out the Bilibili videos in my description. They are just the best. Now, part 2, talking about the difference between the book and the drama. I've read the book. Obviously, I've seen the drama many times. So this video will help you understand if you haven't read the book or if you have no access, because I think it's been translated into English online, but it's not fully completed. I think if you're eager to know. So this is definitely spoiler heavy, but of the original material. And then it's gonna be a long video because I have a notebook. Cat notebook. And pages and pages of notes I need to go through. Just to talk about the original story. First, let me say the original fiction novel I don't think it's watertight in terms of its logic or the explanation of all the mythological era of the previous lives of those main roles and why they are the way they are. I don't think it's 100% clear why certain things happen certain way. I don't fully actually get it, but I'm doing my best trying to explain the things that I've seen and hopefully get across the sort of the gist. The original book is definitely a sort of fantasy supernatural story because it talks about mythological figures in Chinese traditional mythology. It talks about ghosts, gods, evil spirits, supernatural fightings. That's the setup. Where in a drama, everything gets scientifically modified into aliens and species and DNAs and not even planet Earth. So that's a key difference. Also, the BL nature of the two main lead roles in the original novel, which is completely changed into 社会主义兄弟情, which is socialism, brotherly love. Yeah, we get it. Okay, so let's talk about the key sort of character setup difference. Zhao Yunlan's original form is the god Kunlun. I'm gonna talk about that later, but basically he was initially a god. But now he's just a human. And since he was like 10 years old, he was given 镇魂令, which is the 镇魂 token. In the drama, it's just a contract. In the book, it's a completely different thing. It's actually a piece of wood from a god sort of tree. And then it has talisman shapes. And when he uses them, it turns into a magical whip that is super powerful, which he can use to beat supernatural beings. And he also has a watch that has supernatural powers too, which indicates if there's ghosts around him, and also it can take ghosts in. He also has many other little sort of tricks and equipments that help him to deal with supernatural enemies. So he's much more powerful in terms of fight power in the original book than in the drama. In the drama, he's just human. There's really zero superpower that he has. In the book, he's also naturally clairvoyant, so he can see ghosts since he was a child. Then Shen Wei, as the other male lead role, is originally the ghost king, so he's the king of the ghost race. He has a twin brother. In the book, it's called 鬼面, ghost face or ghost mask. In the drama, it is 夜尊, the sort of white version of Shen Wei. He's not 黑袍使, black cloak envoy, but 斩魂使, which means chop, soul envoy, literal translation. But obviously, soul and ghost, that kind of word cannot appear in a politically correct Chinese drama. That's why he gets turned into black cloak. He's also a half ghost and a half god, and I'm gonna talk about that later too. So two major sort of roles differences. Then cat, Da Qing, is a black cat, but in the book he stays as a cat most of the time. Until towards the end of the book, he starts to take human forms more often. He is in charge actually with the token 镇魂令 to pass that to every generation of 镇魂令主, and he's also actually the pet of the god Kunlun. So he basically has lived like 10,000 years. Zhu Hong is a snake, yes, in the original book too. But in the original book, she every full moon she turns half snake, so she cannot stay in human form and she cannot work. So she has to be absent from work every month for a couple of days. Wang Zheng is a ghost, a real ghost in the original book, whereas in the drama it's called 能量体, energy form, which is like yeah, it's really stretching the logic. Chu Shuzhi in the book is Zombie King. He's the king who controls zombies. Yay. Guo Changcheng in the original book is actually very important. He's sort of the narrator. He brings you to the story, introducing you to the characters. He's actually the human incarnation of the wick in the 镇魂 lamp, the fourth sacred object. I don't quite get it, but basically he has like an incredible amount of good karma on him, which allows him to basically, I'll explain it later. So Guo Changcheng, very important character. Lin Jing in the original book is actually a monk. So in the drama, he turns into a scientist. I guess it functions the same because when he's a monk, he can do all those sutras of Buddhism that can control ghosts and stuff like that. Also in the book, Zhao Yunlan's mother is actually not dead. She's very well and alive, and she's the first person Zhao Yunlan actually comes out to, sort of confessing his actual relationship with Shen Wei. Zhao Yunlan's dad in the book is also sort of occupied by a different spirit, and that spirit is actually the sort of spiritual incarnation of another god, Shen Nong's medicine bowl, like inanimate object gaining spirits is something that you see in mythology a lot of the times. And I think that's the key differences of the main characters that you see in the drama as opposed to in the book. Now let's get to the second part of talking about the book. Now the most important thing is the sort of mythological era story, background story of the two main characters and the book ending. So again, this is going to be break down into two parts. First, let's talk about the characters' previous life and why they are the way they are. So this mythological background has a couple of characters that's actually real Chinese mythological figures, but then most of the stories are made up by the writer. So Kunlun is one of the four sort of oldest god in terms of being in the mythological era. He is the youngest one among them. He is the mountain spirit. Kunlun is an actual mountain in China. It's on the northern edge of Tibetan plateau, and it's a very long mountain range and believed to be a sacred place in many different sort of whether it's folklores or Taoism. Kunlun as mountain spirit and god, he owns all the mountains and rivers in the world. The other three gods being Nuwa, Fuxi, Shen, they're all actual real sort of Chinese mythological figures. Nuwa is responsible for creating humans out of soil. Fuxi is her partner. Shen is the god who is responsible for tasting all the medicine herbs and create medicine for humans. So the gist goes, when Nuwa created humans, humans were actually tainted because they were made from soil, and soil is tainted with greed, hatred, all that kind of negative things. So it resulted in gradually the human races developing their own different fractions and constant fighting between races and species. And when humans die, because at that time there's no reincarnation, all the dead spirit gets trapped and suffers and cannot go anywhere. So Nuwa feels very sorry for creating that pain. So she and Shen decided they want to create a reincarnation so all the dead souls can actually go reincarnate and never truly die. So that's sort of the initial setup. Whereas Kunlun was a very reclusive god. He lived in his mountain. He didn't want to really, take part in any of the mess of the fightings. When the reincarnation hadn't been created yet, all the dead spirit were causing a lot of trouble. So Shen borrowed a soul fire from Kunlun, trying to use its power to pacify all those angry dead spirits. Soul fire is something in the book setting that every living spirit has. It has three. Everybody has three. So it's on your left and right shoulder and on the top of your head. So Shen borrowed one from Kunlun's left shoulder. But while he's traveling, he ran into some fighting dragons and demi-human gods and dropped the fire accidentally or intentionally. The book actually is very ambiguous about that. So the fire gets dropped into the land of great disrespect, which I am going to call it LOGD from now on because it's too long, and the Chinese name is 大不敬之地. The best explanation I can say is in the mythological era, this is the place where all the dark energy, all the evil force lives. It's like the underworld, not necessarily hell, but the worst part of existence. Shen dropped the fire into the place, which unexpectedly created a new race of beings called ghosts. But these ghosts are not dead spirits of humans. They're just dark energy forms that devours everything, that are causing a lot of troubles. The lowest forms couldn't even take shapes, whereas the highest forms were actually born out of flower and looking very pretty for the novel's sake. So there were only ever two of them. One was Shen Wei, the other one was his twin brother. Some time passes when Shen Wei now was the young sort of ghost king, highest rank beings in the ghost race. He meets Kunlun when Kunlun came down from his mountain and sort of took an immediate liking of the god and started to following him everywhere as a sort of fanboy. So that's how they first met and became a semi sort of friend, teacher, lover. It's hard to say what exactly that is. Because ghosts don't have souls in the book's setting, they cannot be reincarnated, which means Shen had failed at creating a full reincarnation because ghosts couldn't be reincarnated. Therefore, the god Shen really, really hated the entire race of ghosts and wanted to destroy them. While this is ongoing, some real Chinese mythological events gets worked into the story, which is the breaking of the heaven. So heaven start to break, and Nü Wai used the 5-color stone, melted stone, to fill up the holes in the sky. And the seal of the LOGD starts to break, which was sealed by her partner Fu Xi, a god. But now she had to sacrifice herself to reseal it. And then Shen Nong turned himself into reincarnation, and which leaves only Kunlun as the fourth and only one god left. And so when that seal started to break down again, he turned his own body into the Zhenhun lamp, and then using the other 3 sacred objects together to basically keep the LOGD safe, while his spirits travels to the gate or the seal of this place and guard it there to make sure no evil ghost, the bad energy ever comes up to the world. He was there for hundreds of years as a spirit, while the Ghost King accompanied him all that time. So basically they were together for hundreds of years, only have each other for company. During which time there's a 50-year period where the Ghost King went into the LOGD and collected the scattered soul fire from Kunlun's left shoulder and then brought it back and wanted to give it back to him. But Kunlun refused. He bestowed the fire as a gift to Shen Wei. Then eventually it comes to the time when Kunlun needs to die too, because again the book doesn't explain why all the gods needs to die, but they all need to go at some time. Before he dies, he took out a tenant, and then gave it to Shen Wei, which changed Shen Wei from a ghost to a half ghost, half god. But Shen Wei wasn't happy that Kunlun was going to completely disappear, so he trapped Kunlun's soul and brought it to Shen Nong's spirit, who was the creator of reincarnation, and requested Shen Nong to turn Kunlun's spirit into a human spirit so he can go into reincarnation and live again and again just as a human. Because Kunlun was a god, his spirit is too strong to go into the reincarnation unless all his god power, memory, everything gets sealed away. But by doing that, Shen Nong would destroy his own spirit, because he is a god too. So I guess to take away another god's power, you have to die too. It's a bit confusing. So Shen Nong didn't want to do that, and then Shen Wei forced him or begged him, whatever. And then eventually Shen Nong said, "Okay, I can do it, but then there are 2 conditions. One, if in the future ever this seal of LGD gets broken again and all the ghosts come up to the world, you have to kill yourself and all your ghost buddies to keep everything safe." Then the second condition is, in all Kunlun's reincarnation human lifetimes, you cannot meet him, because Shen Wei is soulless and he's really a negative kind of energy, and if he gets too close to Kunlun as a human, he would basically destroy his life force and destroy his soul. So Shen Wei agreed, which resulted in Kunlun being turned into human and started to live 10,000 years of reincarnation, not knowing who he is, while Shen Wei is always watching from outside and knowing that his best buddy lover is out there, but never being able to meet him. So basically 10,000 years of accumulated sexual frustration. So at the beginning of the book, during the first case, also in the drama, Li Qian's case in the drama, in the book it's slightly different but mostly similar. They finally meet this lifetime, and it's actually a ploy by Gui Mian, Shen Wei's twin brother in the book. He actually manipulated conditions to make these 2 people meet. So when Shen Wei actually first met Zhao Yunlan, he was very stunned, and he didn't expect it to happen, and he tried to run away because he knew he shouldn't meet him. But then, as story goes, once you meet, there's nowhere to run, you just have to fall into fate. Okay, so I've explained the previous story. I need to take a break, this is just too much. Okay, so back to the actual ending of the book. Some of the cases that you see in the drama are new creations because there are certain stories in the book that are just too ghost and god heavy that there's no way to get around it. So at the end of the book, the seal of the LOGD is finally going to fully break down after 10,000 years. Shen Wei decided to sacrifice himself and basically carry out his contract and promise to the god Shen Nong. He kind of burned himself or turned himself into the fire of the Zhenhun lamp. And at the same time, right before that, he tried to wipe away all Zhao Yunlan's memory. So his action managed to seal the LOGD. Everything goes back to normal. Guo Changcheng, fortunately, as the incarnation of the actual wick of the lamp, has all the good karma accumulated in him, on him, whatever. He has the ability to basically light up the lamp to its fullest. And when that happens, Zhao Yunlan actually starts to gain all his god power, his Kunlun power, his Kunlun memory. He remembers who he actually is. He has all the powers he has. And so everything is good and fine, and the lamp starts to burn, and it spills out eventually a new Shen Wei with soul fires. So this time the ghost king becomes a god. Because he has soul fires too, all the ghosts manage to gain soul fires at the same time, which completes the entire reincarnation, which means all ghosts now can reincarnate. So even the seal is there, it really doesn't do anything anymore. Like, it's not really necessary to exist. And once that happens, there's a couple of extra chapters in the book which describes what happens later. So both Zhao Yunlan and Shen Wei now are gods, but they decided to still live as humans. So live their disguise as humans, still as the chief of the special investigation and as a professor at the university. They moved the division to a location that's closer to the university. So every day when Shen Wei got off work, he can just walk 5 minutes and get to pick up his wife. And every buddy who works at special division has a Shen Wei's class schedule, so they know when to expect their boss's husband to come over and pick up their boss, and they're all looking forward to that every day because that means they can go off work too. Zhao Yunlan also opened a garden, a vegetable garden in the backyard of his office and decided to grow eggplant. I mean, it's really funny to read those sort of daily life banterings between the husband and the wife. The book ends like that. It's a very happy ending, for sure. Everybody gets what they want in the end. Very crazy and completely different from what you see in the drama. I would say after reading the book and then I go back to watch the drama, and I so clearly see the two actors are actually acting the relationship, the emotional connection, the feelings that the two characters have for each other as the book described it, not as the script has described it. Because the script doesn't make logical sense at all. It doesn't make sense why, when they first met, Shen Wei would react in the way that Zhu Yilong portrayed him in the drama, which is extremely intense, extremely subtle, but extremely heartbreaking. And that would make sense for the performance that Zhu Yilong delivers. Whereas in the drama setting, he basically met Kunlun for 1 day and then slept for 10,000 years. And then started to looking for him and somehow feels this strong connection. I'm like, doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. But whatever happened to the script, we just have to watch it as the book has said, and it makes perfect sense in that way. I would also say I think the whole team really loved the original book. That's why they put so many drops and so many hints. For example, the before marriage, after marriage hairstyle that even the actor Bai Yu joked about, because he has a clear hairstyle division between episode 14 and 15. At the end of 14, Shen Wei finally completely reveals that he is Black Cloak, and then now they live next door to each other and they are a family. So right after that, in episode 15, Zhao Yunlan changed his hairstyle into a sort of middle parting hairstyle, and the actor joked that that is a signal for I have found my good friend, whereas everybody who's watching the drama is like, no, that means you have found your husband. Because traditionally in Chinese culture, when a woman marries, she changes her hairstyle. So I mean, these things are everywhere in the drama. And then there are some very classic scenes and important lines in the book that gets worked into the drama in different ways, such as there's only one good part of me that is the tip of my heart, which is red, and the blood there is clean, and I keep you there, which is what Shen Wei said to Zhao Yunlan. And then in the drama, in the later episodes, you would hear him saying that my blood is red even though my soul is black. I mean, you can hear so many of those hints dropped in throughout the drama that are referring back to the book. So I think they really did their best, and I'm really thankful for the work that these actors, the creative crew have done for the original material. Had this been a different time where you are allowed to make the actual story from the actual book with all its BL nature and its supernatural nature, this could actually be a really epic story to tell, but unfortunately we are living in this time. But then if it's a different time, you may not find two actors who are just so suited for the roles, from their appearance to their acting style to their chemistry and interaction. So I guess gain something, lose something. So that's the end of this very long, very drawn out video from Avenue X. I would be really surprised that if you actually stayed through the whole thing till this point and actually find it interesting. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I'll see you in my next video. Meanwhile, live long and happy drama watching.